welcome back to Talk of Alabama. What will holiday tipping and regifting look like? Well, lots of questions around that. With all those gifts under the tree that you don't really want, what do you do with them? And then, of course, if you head out, but you're cash strapped, what amount do you safely tip? So many questions, but they're all going to be answered this morning by etiquette expert, Miss Sharon Schweitzer. Welcome to you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
This is an interesting question because with all that happened in 2020, is the rule still 15 to 20% on tipping?
Well, things have changed with all that's happened in 2020. In light of the pandemic, the new rule is that 30 to 25% or 25 to 30% is the new 15 to 20% if you can afford to do so. Now, many people cannot because of either a layoff or a loss of employment, a reduction in pay, so only if you can afford to do so. The other change due to the pandemic is that we are now tipping people we used to not tip. For example, we're tipping folks who do carryout, who provide curbside, or who do delivery to our homes, because those people are risking not only themselves, but they're risking their families when they go back home in the evening, because ordinarily we wouldn't tip on those services, but we've got something brand new that we're dealing with now in light of the pandemic.
Interesting. You mentioned curbside. So before you would really only tip if you sat down at a restaurant and ate and you had a waiter come to your table. But now would you give, if you're going in to just pick up your food, would you still try to give that 20 plus 30%? Even in that situation?
That would be more of a 15 to 20% situation. Only if you're into a restaurant are people now trying to tip 25 to 30%. Again, though, only if you can afford it. If you can afford to be generous because of what's happened to our economy, people really appreciate that generosity. But if you can't afford to do so, obviously people aren't expected to. And tipping is always a personal decision. It's up to your discretion as to how much you tip.
I was reading over your notes and you've got some other great ideas. If you are cash strapped, but you still want to show appreciation, what are some recommendations?
Well, during the holiday season, there are lots of other ways that people show their appreciation for folks who provide them with service throughout the year. You can write an expression of your gratitude with a handwritten note. You can also provide gifts from local businesses, local artisans, local craftspeople. You can do all sorts of other things like a basket from a retail or a local grocery store, fruits and nuts. Those sorts of things are really appreciated as long as you're mindful of any potential allergies.
Good point. Now, since we're on the topic of gifts, what do you do with the gifts that maybe you have under your tree or that you received this year that you're like, I'm never going to use this, or I just really don't like this? Do you save them and re-gift them, or do you give them away? What do you do with them?
In the U.S., gifting is not as taboo as it used to be. At one point, it was a real taboo, but not anymore. Because of the environment, people have become far more accepting of regifting. But there are some guidelines that we recommend people think about. Number one, if you get that gift under the tree and it's just not for you, one of the things you can do is consider regifting it if you know someone who would enjoy the gift, who needs it, or would want to receive a gift like that. One of the things you want to make sure you do, though, especially in a pandemic, is make sure that that gift is in its original packing, original cellophane or original plastic, and the seal is not broken. And what I mean by the seal is, if you look at, let's say, one of the gifts we just talked about from a gift store, does maybe fruit, cheese, wine, something perishable that you're going to enjoy and eat. Don't open that up and break the seal from like Harry and David or Hickory Farms. Don't open that seal, pluck out your favorite item, and then reseal it, because that seal has been broken and opened. And once you do that, you've exposed the potential recipient to viruses, germs, bacteria, and that's not healthy to do in a pandemic. So that would be the number one rule that's different this year on regifting.
Okay, and you also had some great ideas. You know, maybe obviously Christmas has passed, but if you've got celebrations or weddings, things that you have to buy people gifts for in coming up in 2021, some out of the box thinking, like maybe a babysitting or nanny service, or maybe a massage. Share some other great ideas for unique gifts that people actually will use.
Yes, you can buy people gift cards for services, and these are things that people really appreciate and like. And what you can do is think about, what is something I can give them that is personal? And personal gifts are always the ones that are the most well received. So whenever you think about regifting, think about the person. What is it that is unique to them that they will enjoy? And so personal trainers are one example, a massage therapist, yoga instructions, piano lessons. There's all kinds of different things that you can do that you can gift to people that are unique and that they can do online, especially when we're in a pandemic. So be creative and think of different things that you can provide to people in the form of a gift card. And many people, if they receive a gift card, will want to regift that. And if so, buy a brand new gift card package, and you can get those in many different locations. And then you take the gift card you received out, but double check the amount and make sure it's not expired, make sure part of it hasn't been used, and then put it in a new gift card little box and regift that.
Great reminders. You are an etiquette coach. If people want to reach out to you or ask you more questions when it comes to everyday etiquette, how do they reach you?
They can find me at SharonSchweitzer.com, and we have a full blog on regifting and different categories of what's best to regift and what you might want to stay away from.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's my pleasure. Happy holidays to you and your family and all the folks there at your station.
We appreciate you. For you at home, follow her blog, check her out, and of course, being in style when it comes to etiquette never goes out of style. We've got to take a quick commercial break, but more Talk of Alabama just around the corner. Keep it right here on ABC 3340.